comics love horror story type, freak accident type stuff, this is no different when it comes to the guy known as Ted Sallis, who is a scientist working for the United States Army on a super soldier serum. One night he was led into an ambush. Of course, tragedy has to strike, right? By AIM scientists looking to steal his work he was working on. So he ended up injecting the serum into himself. His car crashed into a swamp. He should have died, but the magical energies of the swamp transformed into the Man-Thing. Basically, an inhuman monster bound to the swamp as its unknown guardian. There's a swamp that holds the nexus of all realities. Yeah, these stories can get very cosmic. Even states here, you can read all this lore about here, stable serum and all this good stuff about how the Man-Thing got made, basically. Luckily for him, he's one of those characters that went through character progression over the years. There was a time where Ted Sallis was basically trapped in Man-Thing's limited consciousness for literal decades, watching helplessly as the monster did its own thing. But thanks to bizarre events, he ended up being reborn with Sallis in control of his own self as the all-new Man-Thing. Like I said, character progression. This body is basically an extension of the swamp, basically. So if this body gets destroyed, it doesn't really matter. He can just be reformed. Ridiculous regenerative capabilities and such. He's ridiculously strong, like destroying this monster that was menacing Moonstone. Somebody that can usually protect herself for the most part. Strong enough to uproot trees and use them as a club. Check out this being that Spider-Man's having issues with. Can stagger the same being. Strong enough to smash through this boat. This metal shack gets destroyed. Like, look how he's ripping pieces apart. He was in immense pain in this particular occasion, just effortlessly tears apart the swamp. He uses a demon as like a weapon or a club against other demons to swat them away. Again, battering demons around by swinging it around. Don't mess with him. Punches the speeding car and sends it flying. Demolishes part of the pirate ship. Got a little scuffle with Iron Man, backhands him out of the way. Notice how Iron Man's trying to hurt him. He can't really hurt him too bad. Even states no good, just spreading slime over the street. You really get an idea of how strong tier he's in. Look what he does to Hulk punch. Look at his facial expression. One could say Hulk is probably one of the poster boys of power when it comes to Marvel. Spider-Man, get back. Thick concrete, you can just smash through it. You get an idea of the chunks of the debris here. I mean, he did kill this dragon with a stop sign. Exchanges multiple blows with Hulk, showing that he is no slouch in comparison to his strength, but it kind of helps that he's slimy. Durability doesn't really need to be on par with Hulk because he's just kind of like unhittable, really. These two men get hurled far. Takes out this electric demon by hurling a tree into it. Throws this cleaning machine through several rooms of a building, grabs Molecule Man and throws him. Like, what? Hurls a chain over his shoulder hard enough to kill a man. This steel spaceship, he just tears it apart. Crushed the demon's head. Tree that was alive, he just crushes the tree with his raw strength. Tears the glob apart, another gooey type being. Hydra Aegis, he's not afraid of actually taking your life. Interesting to see him climb up the side of a mountain. With the help of another monster, he helps kind of suffocate Hulk. For him to even be able to do this to a Hulk tier being, this is probably one of his best feats ever. He's always been known as one of the poster boys for Marvel when it comes to powerhouse tier. He has fought and overpowered She-Hulk, Green One as well. It kind of gives you an idea of his strength is the fact that even when he's gradually weakened, he's still consistently, or one can say significantly, stronger than the Spider-Man. They even go as far as saying, although the Man-Thing is clearly in a weakened state, the blows have little effect from a Spider-Man tier. He doesn't care who you are. He would just overpower you. Or just physically strong enough to tear a man in half. Super soldier tiers can't just rip the cosmic cube out of his hand. Just because you're strong, but I'm stronger. I'm Man-Thing. Strong enough to tear Psycho Man's arm off. He's not afraid to bum rush you. Like blitzing a group of spirits, blitzing a group of trained soldiers, takes down a sniper before he gets his shot off, surprises his group of men, outraces a group of hammer men, so he ain't just a walking slow poke. He reacts to stuff like dodging his fire blast, uproots a tree and swats Doctor Strange, catches someone's arm here after when they're trying to attack him, catches a woman here before they can strike, group of wolves get murdered, dodges several attacks from a skilled warrior. It's implied he can travel quickly and gracefully if he's underwater, intercepts this lizard monster and kills it. Quicksand ain't enough, he can just rise up out of quicksand. How often do you see somebody rise out of quicksand? Most of the time he can regenerate from attacks like this occasion with Hulk, or simply the attacks can ooze through him like this. But his body can actually get pretty hard and just tank it straight up. Like how this cannonball, for example, just doesn't pierce through him. He made his body durable in this occasion. Car crash, like the car dents showing his durability, and the bullets don't do no good. He can launch to the bottom of a raft like a missile from underwater if he has to. A grenade thrown at him does more damage to the person that threw it than him. In this occasion, scuffling with Ghost Rider, his flames can even endure, his body can even endure his Ghost Rider flame. Respect Man-Thing. He got blasted by Cyclops and he reforms from being blasted apart like that, regrows from bullet hole, reforms after being completely blown up, having his head globbed off by a shotgun, ain't gonna necessarily cut it. The regrowth. Face got burnt off, but he reforms. Man-Thing's body and spirit can literally depart to another dimension, but the swamp literally forms a new copy. States how he remembers leaving this world, departing for a reality beyond our own. Yet now remembers also how he did not entirely depart, how some memories of the Man-Thing remain part of the swamp itself. The Man-Thing turns from the memory and sets his great tree trunk's legs once more in motion, follow at his own slow pace the paths of strangers. After being reduced to a puddle of gunk, he just reforms, blowing off his arm or his head, and he can simply still standing, generating itself. Powerful rays that do this to him seems to be down for the count thanks to this ray that was blasted at him. Seems to be done, you see, but he's not quite done. He can reform regeneration. When it comes to this Nexus stuff, here they talk about his lore. Beneath the waters, the strangest life form has taken root for the second time. Algae, bits of dead insects and fish, all matter of murray, waste, substance of the bog itself, coalescence about the fibers that shoot from his head and burrow into the silt. Just to give you some more lore on how this stuff is, he's an amalgam of swamp life, not just plants. In general, basically, that's what that was basically showing you. When it comes to Man-Thing, he can simply make himself durable, or he can just simply become squishy and just avoid damage altogether. Notice how the swords just pass through him. These buzzsaws just do nothing. Powerhouse tears like the Thing's punches just go through him like butter, or liquid like how these weapons just go right through him. You guessed it, bullets go right through him. Another example, laser go through him, battering rams go through him. The collector, the being that likes to collect stuff, these shackles just go right through him. Reedy Richards has trouble restraining him, slides through the bar of a prison, just slips through Spider-Man's web, try to get restrained by a net, he just passes through it, oozes through a bar of a cage, even in a frozen type environment. Usually this stuff counters like fluid type characters. There's even times he unintentionally passes through nets, like on some oops, did I do that type of thing? Characters like Beast even get trapped in his body by accident. Shang-Chi becomes embedded in him. He has other abilities like being able to cause fear inducement, telepathy type stuff, and induce fear. Or one could say empathy. He can mimic a man's desire, senses the fear of an infant, can detect large amount of fear and pain across the planet, feel the desperation of a group of people. He paralyzed the Molecule Man, dude. Gotta be fighting Beyonder, y'all. They even state for a moment he forgets his incredible abilities, leaps back instinctively, and drops his wand. Like, what the heck, Molecule Man? This is pleasant for horror fans, wouldn't you say? Seems to have telepathy where he can communicate with characters like Jean Grey. Is trying to reach inside her mind. With his telepathic type skills, he can kind of show you how to use your power with telepathic images. This is kind of impressive because how would he know how to use her power better than her and he don't have it? Cause you to relive a traumatic event if he wants to. He has intuition, like on this occasion, he can sense Franklin Richards' power, learns a man's history by touching his cord. He knows when his friend is in danger, thanks to this narration. Figure out that he can only hurt a demon made of the same substance, which is the feat I showed you earlier of him using them as battering rams and stuff. Can literally detect evil. One could say he has flame manipulation because whatever knows fear burns at the touch of Man-Thing. Flame inducement, like whosoever knows fear burns at Man-Thing's touch. One could say blast power, like how this man burns with his touch. Small contact burns the Thing, and yeah, this is very consistent. Burns this powerful demon that embodies fear, burns man to ashes, burns a zombie, hugs a man to death, does a fastball special, freaking Castle Punisher Frankenstein. Okay, you know what? This being has the power of Molecule Man, but Man-Thing can burn the same being badly enough to revert her to her normal form. Man-Thing burning folks this powerful now? The same Molecule Man that be fighting Beyonder? Blast power and whatever knows fear burns at the Man-Thing's touch. Even Hulk incinerates the living crap out of a bear. He can burn you hot enough to fuse your hand with your weapon, bruh. Even burns King Hyperion. The only backdrop to this little fear flame inducement thing, he can even burn himself if he somehow feels fear. The fact that he's constantly physically a threat for Hulkish Gamma family members shows his level of strength. Even if he doesn't lift in billions of tons like they've shown in the past, his flame can even hurt them, and supposedly anger is fear, so one could say he could have like a Hulk tier's number because every time they get angry, that's their power source, they would just get burned, wouldn't they, technically? It seems like flame seems to be different than an average flame because usually Gamma members are immune to heat of a type of abilities, but yet this still seems to hurt Gamma family members like Hulk and even Red She-Hulk. No matter if you are gas or stone or ice, if you're scared of him, you'll burn. Man-Thing can blast away cities with his fire. In a way, he kind of reminds me of Yellow Lanterns with the power of fear or whatever, empowering him up. There was like this fear itself event. It states, if you're scared of him, his touch is an inferno, he can't control it. That's the problem with losing control. With this full throttle fear factor in the air, Man-Thing might go supernova, producing more fear than he can really handle. Based on this statement about him going supernova with the heat he might be able to produce, this kind of makes sense to how Marvel characters are when it comes to being star busters or planet busters. This would kind of prove he has enough raw blast power to destroy the Earth millions of times over. If you see my Human Torch video, you know how deadly supernovas can be. Both of these characters exist in the Marvel Universe. It shows that the more fear, the hotter his flames can burn, and they can burn extremely hot. Thanks to his connection with the Nexus, he can teleport to other dimensions or universes, opens visions into alternate timelines, opens a portal, is literally the transportation for the Thunderbolts. He rescues a group of folk from another dimension, easily teleports through mystical defenses. Imagine for a second that Kane Marco needs the power of the Juggernaut, but he can't figure out how to get powered up. So tell me why Thing came into Clutch and said, oh, let's go to an alternate universe where Kane died and Sidorak needs a new host, so he can therefore basically give Kane Marco the power of Juggernaut again. Like, imagine your universe has no more ice cream. Oh, let's search another universe to see if their universe has ice cream. That's basically what he did. This reality, Juggernaut had died, and Sidorak needed a new host, so he got the power of Juggernaut again. A universe with Sidorak, but Kane Marco has died, literally powered him up again. He serves as a guide for the Nexus, because he's just cool like that, as well as the protector of the Nexus. Of course, he has plant control, killing these men in the process doing the plant control. He usually uses his plant control to control his body limbs and stuff. And he destroys construction vehicles with his plant-like growth. He can also sprout wings and fly and keep up with the Silver Surfer while they're flying casually. His body can contain razor-sharp brambles, can extend his arm in attacks, in this case with X-Men, with Mystique, can camouflage himself and hide in the ground, then just spring up like this and kind of scare you or slice you. A group of people literally ate different parts of him, and he burns out of each of their bodies. Burn. Yikes. 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 Clogs up a chimney, makes a wall of himself to block a horse and the rider. Remember I brought up the fear empowerment thing earlier? If enough fear is in the air, he can kind of take control of the nexus of all realities. Man-Thing can control it. During this particular battle, they even stated this changes everything. Yeah, the swamp creature did this to us, turned us into freaks, into monsters. Man-Thing pulled us into the nexus of all realities so anything can happen. It's the crossroads of everything and everywhere. Other worlds, parallel dimensions, the past, the future, places you only imagine, and the stuff that bad dreams are made of. Man-Thing was always a part of it, but now that he's super powered by all the fear in the world, he's controlling it. There's nothing he can't do with it. So one can say, in a way, he can kind of jump tiers if the right circumstances arises. One can say you got base mode, then you can say he got high levels of fear in the air mode. Mystical beings, he can literally drain your life force from. Yeah, drained. Seems to be immune to actual physical pain. Man-Thing is immune to a lot of haxy stuff because of the fact that he's neither magic nor science, but an amalgam of both. One can say his strength can vary because he gradually weakens the farther away he is from the nexus of reality. When it comes to the nexus with the swamp, he is too weak. Sustained exposure to heat or fire can actually take him out. He does need some form of moisture. One could say that's his really only main weakness. Remember I talked about the character evolution and how he kind of went through rebirth very early in the video? Well, tell me why they're still relative when it comes to raw power, but he just has full control. He even talks about, I'm fighting myself, my old self. Grotsky swamp creature from before I regained my mind, my speech has come to claim me and drag me back. Of course, it's an even match, me against the old me, showing that power levels are pretty much the same still. Beings that have death power don't really affect him, isn't necessarily alive or dead. Isn't killed by life-draining touches, by demon. Doctor Strange level characters are supposedly unable to cure him. I don't understand, I cast my spell and nothing happened. Unless Man-Thing was created by a unique synthesis of sorcery and science, which I already showed you he is. Override Molecule Man's will because his abnormal mind. And he supposedly has no soul. Now that's a yikes. He heals from powerful death magic because he knows the swamp will heal him, because you see the swamp is magic, the fabled nexus of reality's gateway to an infinite number of alternate universes. The Man-Thing is the guardian of that gateway. Let me go back to that real quick to show how he fights medium powerhouse tiers to this degree, showing his level of power, eats the attacks, showing that he is no slouch in comparison to these beings' power. This dude got knocked out by the emotional overload, not necessarily her blunt punches, bro. He got in a scuffle with a Spider-Man tier, like the freaking Lizard. I swear, every character gets a chance to fight each other at one point, right? To really prove how powerful he is, fought agents of heaven, hell, and the realm between, Limbo, fought them all at the same time, not too long though, and he fought a lava monster from hell versus a stupid horde of snakes. After fully getting his consciousness and stuff, he can feel pain evidently in his new current state, but before he didn't have fully control of himself, he couldn't feel no pain, but now he can evidently. Crocodiles, all this stuff, swamp related stuff. I don't even know why they would even try to fight Man-Thing at this point. He's cool with Luke Cage, and he seems to be cool with Jean Grey. So if you're a coward, just know that it's an instant L fighting this guy. You're just going to burn, unless you have flame immunity or something. But even characters that have flame immunity like Hulk seem to burn from him, though. One could say he has abilities that ignore durability because his flames seem to act different than normal flames that usually don't harm Hulk tiers. But of course, he doesn't have the most flashy feat fighting the tier characters he had. It suggests that he probably could. I mean, think about it. Can you tell me why he's consistently fighting powerhouse tiers, even Hulk tiers, giving him major issues if he wasn't meant to be on that level? And for God's sakes, you do not want to jump inside of this cat because he holds complete control over the Dreadscape, which is a whole world inside Man-Thing where your worst fears lurk, where you can run but they always catch up. And for the millionth time, Man-Thing was born of an interdimensional magic. He doesn't just guard the nexus of realities, he houses a dark reality of his own, the Dreadscape. It's kind of like one could say the Mindscape. It's basically what is left of the Man-Thing's consciousness, and we're inside of it. It's basically like you're in his house now. So yeah, don't fight him in his Dreadscape. I would keep this character from DC Comic during Yellow Lantern War or something like that, because all that fear would just cause him to go supernova, you know what I mean? But that's just about gonna do it, logically and rightfully so. I would say he's around the powerhouse tiers of Marvel at his base state. He can surpass these powerhouse tiers if there's like a certain scenario to come up or a special event where there's a lot of fear, and it seems like his fire can actually hurt beings that are usually immune to fire and ignore durability, even magical people. He has resistance against hacks like Doctor Strange magicals type stuff. It just makes a lot of sense. Respect Man-Thing overall though. But I'll see you guys later. He's very strong, up there with your favorite powerhouses, or could even surpass them by a lot to a certain degree. Just depends on their situation. Thank you everybody to have donated to the channel though. It helps out a lot. Appreciate it.